Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to show you today is something that we hit on last week, but now the left, the far left, is catching up to what they're really coming to grips with the Biden administration going to the Supreme Court. This is instrumentally key in our freedoms, and everything will be linked into the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. Disagree or agree right down there. Now, of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn that notification bell on. We are distributing freedom to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation, and thank you so much in advance for that consideration. All right, my brothers and sisters, we've got to dive in. Let's get to it quick. It's Sunday, so we got to make this right. Is the Supreme Court ready to walk back last term's historically awful guns ruling? Now, this is about the Bruen decision, and the source of this is from Slate magazine. Slate magazine is like one step away from, Lenin. Real left, all right? Real socialist, real progressive. But let me show you what they're saying about the Bruen decision, and this is where it ties in to everything that we've discussed around the Biden administration going to the SCOTUS and asking them to overturn a prior decision and water down Bruen. They rolled the dice. Check this out. Exactly 1 year ago, in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen, the Supreme Court held that the Second Amendment protects the right to carry firearms in public and announced a new standard for reviewing firearm regulations that many feared would open already porous American gun access even further. It's a Second Amendment right. It's not porous gun access. It's just our rights. Deal with it. Bruen is shaping up to be the game changer many expected it would be. Judging from lower court decisions, under Bruen, nearly every law restricting the Second Amendment is unconstitutional. Yep! That's pretty much it. But this is how they're framing it. Bruen went too far. It was an awful decision, but there's hope we might curtail it through the Biden administration's request to have the domestic restraining orders recipients, to be lightly, restricted on their Second Amendment rights, because that's what they're trying to get the SCOTUS to overrule. Now, we talked about that, and it's pending because the conversation's already happened on Thursday, but the left is picking it up. There are reasons to think many lower courts are misinterpreting Bruen, however, reading it far too literally and narrowly. For the sake of individual and public safety, let us hope the Supreme Court agrees and does something about it soon. Again, timing is key. They wouldn't put this article out or this opinion piece from Slate if they didn't know that the Biden administration had requested their involvement in that domestic restraining order case. Everything is tied together. They know that if they uphold the ruling and they don't take this case, gun control takes an L and the gun rights reclamation continues. Let's keep going. I'm going to show you what they're talking about and how honestly asinine some of these arguments are. Since no other constitutional right is protected this way, lower courts have struggled to apply Bruen's historical standard. But in Bruen's name, many have invalidated firearm laws the Supreme Court itself has suggested were safe or had previously been upheld by lower courts. Previously accepted as acceptable from the intelligentsia or the Supreme Court or lower courts. They're showing you what they're afraid of. They know that if the Biden administration does not get this course heard in the next docket session next year, that the ruling stands. And every other thing that keeps on going forward is gun rights facing, not gun control facing. They're going after Bruen, and they're hoping that this decision with the Biden administration is going to be their salvation, because Bruen was clearly bad, and no other rights do that or are judged this way. Really? You mean like this one? First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Really, you hear the left certainly talk about First Amendment rights and how that's a sacred right and it cannot be touched and almost like it shall not be infringed. But after all, no other courts interpret a right this way. No other rights are interpreted this way. You see how asinine and silly this is? But now, let me get you to the point where they're hoping that the Biden administration can pull the rabbit out of the hat. It is not evident that the Supreme Court will support a strict historical approach that results in widespread invalidation of the nation's gun laws, even if that was implied by Bruen. While he joined the majority in striking down New York's outlier licensing law, Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote a concurring opinion in which he emphasized that, quote, properly interpreted, the Second Amendment allows a variety of gun regulations. Without resorting to historical analogs, Kavanaugh opined the objective firearm licensing schemes currently applicable in 43 states are valid. He also accepted that other long-standing prohibitions on possession by felons and the mentally ill and bans on firearms in sensitive places such as schools and government buildings are constitutional. Kavanaugh's opinion was joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, who is also a key vote in Second Amendment cases. You notice how all of a sudden Kavanaugh is cited as the paragon of common sense and rationality when about 3, 4, 5 years ago he was the devil incarnate? They will do anything for their means at the time. Gun controllers are not exempted from this. Anyone associated on this far left progressive agenda, they do the exact same thing. And now, this is where we come to the Biden administration. Come on. This is the hope that they're trying to, this is the Hopium piece. The court is likely to accept a Second Amendment case for review soon, talking about the Biden administration case, perhaps as early as this month. It will have a critical opportunity to clarify that long-standing restrictions on the right to keep and bear arms remain constitutional. An opportunity. See what they're doing? Today, we are a nation overwhelmed by gun violence and the grief it brings in its wake. The court should not handcuff today's officials to laws made under divergent circumstances in the long, distant past. Invalidate the past. The past does not matter. It's only the new. The past has no validation here. Bruin decision was wrong. It's about control and common sense, and they could not be more wrong. That's what I've got for you guys. They are showing that they are afraid. They are dishing out heavy doses of hopium, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm Braden. See you later.